Say, man, it's an old parable that says the only person that truly wants to see you do better than them and be better than them is your father. Your father, man. Your father say, man, I want you to be a better man than me.
Yeah, how much? Like, you know, I grew up with my grandparents. We was living on my grandfather's income. So he was real old-fashioned. He's representation of tradition for me. So he would just come and give my grandmother his check. And I never understood that. Growing up, I was like, you just gonna give her the whole check? He's like, yeah, what's the matter with you? Like, it was, he said, when I gave your mama the check, it stopped her from looking at things I couldn't give her. Because she was aware of what was really there, it made my responsibilities her responsibilities.
I began to talk about the importance of fathers, and what she said to me is that men aren't needed within a family to raise a child. I turned around and looked at my boy. Then he said something. He said to her in a very calming voice, "Do you really think that I am not necessary to raise our son?" And she replied, "No."
Why? Because the black boy is the only boy who don't have a man to show him how to think. We have a mother to show us how to act out of emotions. So most black boys who grew up in his house with his mama, he don't have a man to show him how to get mad, sit down, think, go outside, smoke him a cigarette, listen to the music, go fishing, talk to him, call his brother. He ain't have a man to show him that.
You know what I like what the CDC said a few years ago? You know who spend more time with their children than any other people, any other fathers?
Black fathers.
Black fathers spend more time with their children.
I didn't realize it till I became an adult, but I needed my pops to be this I am today.
Fact.
You get what I'm saying?
I hear how you speak of that, and
in
it's
order
a
for me
reason,
to be the person I am
which is
today
good.
and deal with the world and deal with everything that come to me, I needed that man. He had to be there talking his shit day in, day out. Like, I had to hear that. I didn't want to hear it.
I get it. No.
But now looking back, I had to hear that.
I'm not gonna tell you that I've been no perfect father. I've been growing. And sometimes you have to live a long time to learn something. And by the time you learn it, your children are grown. You say, oh, this is what I was supposed to have done. So maybe I'll be a better grandfather than I was a father. And that's why children really love grandpa and grandma. Because through trial and error, ma and pa learn better how to do this thing when they got to be grandma and grandpa, if they live that long.
So that's why I don't like to hear what we doing. Black man, shut the fuck up. Floyd, who you think babysit? Shout out to my Uncle Jeff. You know, I like that about black people, that we be with our dads. Because the Lord knows, man, we got some solid ass dads out there, man. A lot of times they don't get the credit, they get beat up, and they take it.
My grandfather said, if it rattle like a snake, if it's little like a snake, it's a snake. You ain't got to get bit to realize it's a snake.
I think as mothers, no matter how, and I say this to my sons all the time, they can attest to that, no matter how great of a mother you are, you get an A+, you cannot be a father. You can't duplicate it. You can't be a mom that's good enough that the father is not needed.
How do we move towards a place where black men aren't so emotional?
You can't. You can't, homie, because the only way you can not be emotional is you have to have a father who teaches you and trains your emotion. Other than that, your mama, you have to be emotional because that's the only time your mother whoops you. You got no spankings when your mother was calm and not emotional. So that's why you're emotional. You were disciplined with emotions. You wasn't disciplined with logical rules to follow. You can't undo this, homie. What's done now, we can't undo this. We'll be dead and gone before we see a new group of men that don't respond like us.
As a black man, what can I instill in a young black boy to make sure that he doesn't respond with emotion?
Treat his mother right and train your child's emotions. So it means you have to spend time with your son. I mean, you got to spend a lot of time with your son. He gonna be the cool who friends follow him because he cool like his daddy.
Emotional revelation 50 Cent took to Instagram to announce the passing of his grandfather, Curtis Jackson Sr. The news has left fans in the music industry in a state of sorrow, reminding us all of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing our loved ones. 50 Cent shared a heartfelt tribute to his late grandfather, posting a series of photos that captured their shared moments over the years. longtime friend and collaborator of 50 Cent, also expressed his sorrow over Curtis Jackson Sr.'s passing. He took to Instagram to share his feelings, signaling the depth of their shared history and the impact of this loss on the tight-knit music community.
Greetings, you polite savages.
Answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
It's baffling to me, you polite savages, that majority of the population don't understand the importance of men and the fact of molding other men. This mentorship, whether it's from your family or outside sources, is not only vital, but one of the most important things that a young man can have growing up. Because in many cases, your father's the only one who can look you dead in the eye and say, young man, I know what you're trying to do and I don't believe you. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. The world is tough. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It's time to push on. These are the lessons and trials and tribulations that a father can teach a young man. And mothers are just not equipped to do it, not because they don't care, but they're different beings than men. Just lead with compassion. Men have to lead with accountability. One of the funny things about 50 Cent is that he has a reputation of always being on time, never missing a gig. He'll jump on an airplane like a cab, fly 20 hours, do the job, and fly 20 hours back. Where do you get this work ethic from? You get it from watching the man of your house when you're a young man always going to work, always providing, always getting it when the getting's good. Even though 50 Cent stumbled as a young man, did a lot of street things, was around a lot of street cats. The lessons his grandfather laid to him was the foundation that allowed him to circle back, get these lessons, and be successful as a grown man.
People might think 50, he's a little crazy. He is crazy. But I understand, because everything, that's how you don't miss flights. That's how you punctual, you on time. Because it's like the military with that. He's on time for everything because he treated like the block.
Like, that's one thing, he don't play with that work. And ever since he first came to Violator and the first Get Rich or Die Trying came out, he was the only one that would jump on a plane like the shit was a cab. That motherfucker don't got no problem flying 20 hours somewhere and coming back home the next day. 20 hours. He don't care. And this is how he was from the beginning. So being on that tour and being able to do all of those antics every night, the way it was received was phenomenal.
You see, the father's love is different than a mother's love. A mother's love, the door's always open. You can always come in. However, a father's love, the door is closed unless you're doing the right thing, unless you come the right way, unless you handle yourself and handle situations a certain way. You have to be a man. You see, you can be the prodigal son that returns, but you cannot return until you learn and understand the lessons that life has given you, that your father tried to give you. And this will push you and propel you in your life. And a lot of lessons you just don't want to learn. A lot of lessons is a tough pill to swallow. A lot of lessons, as a young man, you look at it and you say, this guy's just running off at the mouth. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. This is old information. But the funniest thing is the older you get, the more intelligent your father seems. The more intelligent your grandfather seems. The more intelligent your mentor seems. The older you get and the more experience you get to see more clearly exactly what they were talking about. And these are the things that help men become men. That's why it's possible to be a felon and make your ways up the echelon of wealth in this country. Don't think that someone's giving you an opportunity. You have to take your opportunity. But with the right guidance from your family, from your father, from your mother, but especially the father in this situation, to make you tough, to give you the stiff upper lip, you can achieve it if you try. And there's something else that your dad tells you, something else that a good father figure tells you why fathers are so important is, guess what? You don't get everything you want. You don't always win. Sometimes the best you could do is just to maintain, and you gotta realize that's where you are. And so to the fathers out there doing the best you can, don't let any of these harlots tell you that it's only about money. Don't let any of these harlots tell you that you're not worthy because you can't throw down $10,000 a month, $4,000 a month, because the knowledge that you can supply, the knowledge you can give this child, the knowledge and the value you can add to your son's life is exactly what you're here for. The knowledge you can add to your daughter's life is exactly what you're here for. Do not fret. Do not think that it's over because you're down. Work your way up. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Shut up and get to work. That's right. You got an extra 4 hours? Get an extra job. It's time to show and prove and shut these harlots up because we've had enough.
I'm not going to tell you that I've been no perfect father. I've been growing. And sometimes you have to live a long time to learn something. Maintaining the woman means that you have a responsibility to protect her and to protect your children. But guess what? You cannot protect what you cannot control. Wait now. Sisters, when I use the word control, that makes you upset sometimes because you don't want nobody to control you. But no man can protect what he cannot control.
No matter if you're living in suburbia, Royal Town, tough inner city, I think fathers are needed. Major shout out to moms because moms make things happen. I think dads just add that little bit of needed structure, especially for little boys. When you're a little boy, but especially for guys. Everyone needs a dad in their life because they show and give that little bit that the moms may not be able to.
If you don't have a husband, you are almost guaranteed to enmesh with your child and overparent, especially if it's a son.
Men are critical. That's how men are. The reasons why children do better with both parents, intact families, is because they receive unconditional love and support from mum, but very conditional high standards from father, who is there to remind you that this is not good enough, telling him he needs to work harder, telling him he's going to be a loser if he doesn't work hard. The point of a father is to initiate you into a more tough persona. That's the whole point of having a masculine figure in your life. So if you meet a man who is hypersensitive to his dad just being a dad, chances are he's going to be disconnected from his masculinity. He doesn't understand the masculine version of love. He has an idea that love should just be constantly being nice, constantly being polite, constantly believing in you. So then what happens when you get into a relationship with a man like this? They cannot take criticism.
Thank you for watching the TIP Network. Follow us on all social media outlets and ask yourself one burning question. Can you handle the tip? Boom, we're out.
We found true happiness